Okay. Good morning, everyone. Michael, Alex, Kevin, Arvir, Farhina, Sean, Adewale, Eskim, and Joseph the Great. Now Bobby joined us, and yeah, lots of good names. Let me just explain something to you. What we're going to start with today is the constant. The name is self-descriptive, right? Means that we don't want to change the values. I'm not gonna take your time by going through the slides. The slides are the best for you to review, and we can leverage the videos that Narendra was kind to provide for us to watch the slides and watch the review the slides and watch the videos. Before anything, I want to ask you your opinions. What are the things that are not constantly by nature changing? Joseph, do you have any idea? Any example? You are muted.
Sorry.
No
So
worries.
you want things that don't change.
Yeah.
Uh, Give me a mini example and I'll give you a big one.
Okay. The number of days in a week.
Oh yeah, the number of days the number of days in the numeric values of 1 to 100 as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The number of
well,
months, for example,
number of months.
when you want to calculate the, for instance, circumference of a or area of a circle, right? So the pi number is
It's
constant.
constant, yeah.
It's really that's a good one. Michael addressed taxes. Well, if we I remember
Taxes
the
change.
time. Yeah, I remember the time. Actually, that's a very good example that you don't want people by themselves. They change it during the program. You want to define something on top of the program, for instance, 0.13. And then the good thing is, imagine that you want to bring that program to Calgary and the tax is different over there, right? You just need to change it in one place and not every in every module, for example. So the thing is, we can just come up with this idea that constants are something that we don't want to either change at all or change frequently, right? So let's just start with some examples. The funny thing is, in some languages, we don't have constants like Python. They just use the standard of showing the variable names in all capital letters, hoping that people are not going to change it. You know what I'm saying? So there is no constant. They just try to mimic the format. Look at here. We start with const for constants, shrink company name, for instance, Centennial College, or constant character space, or the tax rate as Michael addressed 0.13. So legal age 18. In some countries it is 16, for instance. Constant int months 12, comma days equal to 365. And the other thing is, what do we call the double constant days per month? And yeah, as you see, we have days divided by double months. That's a good point, Michael. Um, there are some of the stuff that you never see unless you start teaching, then you're gonna see, we have those concepts as well. Um, for instance, tuples are not that much um, kind of ordinary things in programming, but when I started teaching Python, I started, we have tuples too. Okay, I want you to do me a favor. Do you see this program? I'm gonna tell you. It says that please enter your salary, and we say double sal equal to converts to double whatever you get from the input. And then we are going to say the salary is going to be sal minus sal multiply tax rate. So that's the net salary. And we are going to say, right line, your net income is something, right? So imagine that we are talking about Reza. My salary weekly is 1,000, for instance, 500, for instance. And then we are going to calculate that. How about that? Okay. I'm going to give you this part as a warm-up. I'm going to type it for everyone there. As a warm-up, let's just type these 4 lines. And that's the last line. So those just 4 lines. Sorry, the microphone was super far. Is it better now, Joseph, Alex? Okay. Okay. Whenever you are done and you get the result, please give me a thank you very much. Please give me a signal for typing whenever you are done with typing. Imagine that the salary is 1,000 for someone. The net income would be 870. So 13% or $130 is gonna get deducted. And that's it. Done. Thank you. Okay, for those who left behind, um, the next question that I have for you is, please consider pi as the constant value. Huh? I don't know how, but let's just, I think that it should be something like constant float or double, whatever you want to consider. Then pi equal to 31415. That's enough. And then please calculate the area of a circle using that pi. That's the task that we have. And is it possible? Please just send it to my, please send your answers to my private chat. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Riz, I missed what's the input we're gonna give it? A diameter or a radius? Anybody?
Sorry, Michael, I was not at the table for a few seconds. I tried to boil water for to have a
Uh,
chance.
yeah,
Sorry.
sorry, I was just I forgot I didn't catch what input we were gonna give it. We're gonna take some input from the user, a radius or
Yes.
diameter.
Just radius. Get
Okay,
a radius from the user. Thank you.
perfect. Thank you.
Boris. So, Sean, bravo. Very professional. Thank you, Sean. Okay, I'm gonna wait for one more friends to copy their code. Hmm. The only concern is P and I pi. That's a kind of standard, right? We need to capitalize it like this. Okay, but the rest is great. Michael, thank you very much. Awesome. Okay, so let me just see what I learned from your code. Um, we can say constant double pi. Whenever we see that all the characters are capitalized, we can simply think that it should be constant, right? So then we are going to have a radius and the area, for example, and we say, please enter the radius, and then we convert it to double and place it inside rad. We can just do it in one line, or we can just have it later. That I prefer this style. And then we are going to just say rad multiply pi. Some of our friends used a more professional way by saying math.pow. So pow is the functions, the method to calculate the power. And they say rad comma 2 means rad to the power of 2. And then they calculated the area that way. Here, what we have is the area of circle that you have is area, and that's how it works. So, yeah, the next one, I was just a little bit more meticulous, but I just particularly wanted to have 2 decimal points, huh? If I don't have colon F2, it is going to show you as much as floating point, decimal points that you may have, but this is going to round it just to 2 decimals. So I want you, please, everybody, have this code. I'm gonna send it to everyone and see if it works. Spend a few seconds, trace it yourself, and if you have any question, please ask.
So I screwed that up. I did circumference, not area.
Oh, yeah. The correct word for it is circumference. Or what you sent is circumference, right?
Yeah. I was wondering because like when I did it, like pi r squared first popped in my head, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, and then I'm like, no, let's make sure. And for some reason, I put circumference of a circle formula, and then I was like, oh, okay, so no. Anyways,
But
that didn't go well.
well, Michael, I always remember that I don't know why our teachers, this is the educational system that I grew up in, they had a kind of duty to fill our brain with just formulas. Maybe that kind of mindset was before internet era. They always worried that what if those people go to a place that they don't have access the references. At the moment, I don't think that we need to. Whenever we want to just know what is the formula for any of these things, we just Google it, we just say it. And that is why most people that they have fear of coming to software engineering, they say, we heard that it needs a strong math foundation. I was like, hey, come on, I can just deal with programming. So definitely you can. My math is horrible. Anyway, getting to the next part, it's gonna be, let me just show you, did I try this? Control V here, and let me just run it and see how it works, just to make sure everything is okay. Imagine that the radius is 10, so it's gonna be 10 times 10, 100 times 3.1415. Actually, it shows a decent result, right? What we expected. So now let's go to the next part, and that's all about control structures we call looping. So we talked about this already. We said, imagine that you go from one line of code to the other line and then to the next and to the next. What do we call that kind of coding? Anybody recalls the word? You just see we have
Boring.
it. Sequential. Lovely, Sean. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's Michael. True. Yeah, but what if we deal with conditions? Then we use if, right? For instance, if the number is greater than something, show a message, else show a different message, right? And we saw that, and that's a beautiful thing. If we have something like number of days that we have in a week, and we want to say, for instance, one is for Sunday, or in some other calendars, they start with Monday. So you want to get one and say print the day of the week relevant to that. A better kind of format for such cases would be switch case, and we went through them too in the previous session, right? That's a kind of quick review. But there are other cases that we don't want to go from one line to the other, like we want to do something repeatedly for 10 times, 100 times, 1 million times. Sometimes we know the number of iterations that we have. For instance, do this job for 100 times. And sometimes we don't know. Okay, give me an example for a time that we don't know. Imagine that I want to calculate a GPA for students. So how, guys, this is just a question. You don't need to say anything or even correct answer. How many of you have 5 courses in this semester? So Reza has 5 courses, right? And how many of you have 6 courses? For instance, Reza too has 6 courses. How many of you have 7? Rarely we have 8 courses in a semester, especially when, for instance, somebody wants to graduate and left one of the courses from the previous semesters, so they give permission for such cases. Long story short, we don't have very certain, or people like me, I'm a part-timer, so I just want to take 3 courses while I'm working. I try to just catch up with my study as well. So there is no certain numbers. You are going to ask the student, like, please enter your grade and enter negative when you are done. Does that make sense? So it is going to be something like, as long as I enter the positive numbers, it means that I still have a course. So I'm going to just keep doing that. So as long as a condition exists, I'm going to keep repeating. I repeat that. Whenever you don't have any certain numbers, and as long as a condition is valid, you want to do something repeatedly, you're going to use this kind of loop that we call it while or do while. So what are the differences between these two? We are gonna see them, but let's just go to the let's go together to quickly see the loop in general. So it says we have sequential, yeah. Let me just show it this way. Yay. Okay. So it says that we have sequential, conditional, and now we're talking about loopings. And I probably, after the reading week, we are going to have methods. You start working with methods. There is just one important thing that I want to share with you, and that is this week is week number 6. Next week is going to be week number 7, and we are going to have our class. But a week after, if you search, just Google important dates, Centennial College. If you see that, not this week, but a week after, from 24 all the way to 28, is mentioned in the calendar. Can you see that? If you just please spend a second, Google important dates, Centennial College winter 2025. You're going to see it says from 24 all the way to 28 is part of the reading. It's a reading week, right? Everybody could see that. Kevin, could you find that? Goma as well. If you didn't have a chance to find it, yeah. But I want to tell you one thing. Officially, we are allowed to have in academia to consider the weekdays to announce things. But because Centennial provided this facility for people who want to work and spend their time on the weekend to study, they never mention the Saturdays and Sundays in any announcements like that. But since 2017 that I worked with Centennial, please consider the 1st of March and the 2nd of March, they are part of Reading Week. So longest story short, next week we have, on 22nd, we have our regular class, but a week after we don't have that. I'm gonna announce it and I'm gonna say happy holiday. So whenever you don't see any announcements, for sure we are going to have class, okay? The other thing that just quickly I tell you, it rarely happens, but it get disconnected for any reason, internet issue, computer issue. For me, a kind of plan B takes 5 minutes to get back to the session. So if that case happens, please stay for 5 minutes as a kind of break, unintentional break in the middle of the session, and I'm gonna get back to you. Getting back to what we talked, now it's time for us to discover looping. Okay, what is looping? In looping, we have 3 different parts. One of them is initializer, and the other one is the checker, and the other part is updater. What are those 3 parts? I just memorize it. I have no clue. We are going to see it in example. So just know in all the loops, no matter if it is while, if it is loop, we have 3 parts, okay? So just to tease Alex while drinking, Alex, can you read this for us? You are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Awesome. Looping, iteration, and repetition provides the structure to process a statement of a block of statements 0 or more times. Avoids rewriting the same code/logic. Enables the construction of some programs that would otherwise be logically impossible. Example, summing the number less than 1 million.
Mhm. Right, bravo, thank you. So look at this one. In the loop that you see, we have loop header and we have loop footer and we have code statements during the loop. But let's see what it means. Instead of having this kind of funny image, I prefer that we go to an actual example. But it says that loops is the 3rd out of 4 different control structures that we learned. And I strongly recommend that you spend your guys, I just changed a little bit. I'm a kind of minimalist person. So what I did, I just changed the the layout of the slides. If we go there, this is kind of nice diagram for showing the do while. Do while has the condition at the end. You have all the right to say that, Reza, what do you mean? Okay, let's go to example together. And here it is. I'm going to share this with you, and I want you to spend just 2 minutes. Everybody, you received that. I want you to spend 2 minutes and tell me that, okay, Reza, I understood this from the do while loop. It has a nice diagram here. So let's spend 2 minutes and I want to see who's going to be the volunteer to talk about. Okay, Kevin, based on the chart, what can you understand from this? You are muted.
So yeah, my understanding is that, and I was reading also the instructions, and just to go off the chart, the act that your program has to execute is in the first section, in the first code block. Then it goes down to the testing, which is the while condition. So you test your condition, and then you come back up and do the if your condition is true, you come back and you do again. So it's the condition is tested last.
Nice, very much aligned with what I wanted to explain. That's a funny thing, Kevin. I personally, if I wanted to teach, I prefer to teach first for loop, then while loop, then do while. That is why actually that was a mindset that you can see here as well. It says that unlike for and while loops, which test the loop condition at the start of the loop, the do while loop checks its condition at the end of the loop. So it is based on knowing the structure of for and while, and then saying that first you do something and then we check the condition. Just based on what you said, what we can see here, that's my question. Imagine that the condition that we want to check is continuing if the number is greater than 0, positive numbers greater than 0. Does that make sense? Imagine that first we enter -10. Is it going to print, for instance, the task is just printing the numbers? Is it going to print -10? Guys, if you think that it is going to print, I repeat my question, the condition is checking if the number is positive. But we are going to enter a negative number first round. If it is going to print that, please type 1. If it's not going to print that, please type 2. This is do while. Okay. That's a good thing. We have a variety of answers. So let's see what we have. Okay, 1, 2. Okay. I completely feel you, Joseph. So let me just say 2 as well to not to feel lonely.
Well,
But
I said it on the basis of if the value is true, right? And since the -10 is not positive, then it'll just stop, right? Unless I'm reading it wrong or misunderstanding it wrong.
Have you heard that joke that one fox was trying to escape and the other fox asked that, okay, why are you escaping? It said that because there is a hunter trying to hunt foxes with 3 eyes. And the friend said, okay, you have 2 eyes. Why are you just escaping? He said, actually, first he hunts, then he starts calculating, counting the number of eyes. Actually, this is the condition that we have here. First, we do the job, then we check. So that is why even if the condition is not valid, it's not going to, harm the action of one round of implementing the code. That's how it works. But nothing is gonna be better than just running the code once. I just want to show you something if I can recall. And it's not in this slide. Okay, it's in the next slide. And apart from that, let's just, for while, for break and continue, I have already provided some other websites and things, but there is something I thought, and this is pretty new. I just added description for each of these codes. I thought that it might help us to understand it better. Let's just go through it, and I'm gonna share that with all of you. So please have that. And we are going to discover what the code does, okay? And one thing, I'm going to make a, what do we call it? Breakpoint. Why it doesn't? Okay, now it's, okay, I make a breakpoint there. And let's go together. It says that, okay. It says that, hello, you see? Do you still want to continue? Then it is going to get the answer. At the moment, I don't know if the answer is yes or no, Joseph, right? I go through it once, I don't know. And if I say, let me just say that even no, you see, and keep moving. Where's the guy? What happened? Let me just sorry. So I go to the next, to the next, to the next, and I'm gonna say no, and then enter. And then it gets there. Actually, we went through the block and it is going to get out of it right after this. But you saw that once we went through this loop together. Okay, let's go to the next one. Here I'm gonna say, the problem of this is if I just get rid of that bullet point, breakpoint, and if I say yes, it is going to keep going through it. I'm sorry, I just instead of yes, I had a typo. If I say yes, it is going to accept it. Yes, yes, yes. And imagine that I'm a little bit angry and I say yes, capital, it doesn't understand. And it is going to get out of the loop because it only understands yes with lower cases. So what is your solution, Goma, to accept capital letters as well? Do you have any idea? How we can just say, no matter if you say yes, if you say yes, if you say yes, or even funny form of saying yes, I'm gonna accept all of them. So how we can just convert that? Do you have any opinion? Actually, I have forgotten. If anybody can recall and tell me. The first handsome face that came to my was Goma, so but anybody can help us. Lovely to lower. Alex, do you wanted to say anything?
I was just gonna say to lower. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. So let me just first say yes, but how can I just use to lower? Should I place it here or here or where?
Near the user answer.
Okay, what should I say? Dot to lower. I don't need any parentheses, right? Or I need.
Mm.
Okay, so whenever we use any method, functions, into a parentheses. The good thing is, as Alex said, if you put it here, you know the original value, you keep the original value, and then that is better than bringing that to lower to the, both works, but I prefer this one. And let's see, if I say yes, if I say yes, if I say yes, It's going to accept all of them. Huh? Okay, we got it. And if I want not to continue, anything else except yes is going to exit from there. Let's just go to the next question. And that is, as you helped me to place to lower, that's not anything. But what about this one? What about this one? Look at this. Actually, I want to change a few things here. In this example, Joseph, first we check if it is equal to yes, then keep going through here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a kind of fabricated example. So whether we want it or not, it's going to go once inside there. And if I say yes, it's going to just keep moving. But the real case for such problems is something like this. Control C. I'm going to bring this one here, Control V. And I'm going to not place anything there. So we don't have any initialization. That's the actual case. So if I click on this and say, no, it never gets into the loop. Done. Look at this one. I'm going to place the breakpoint here, and I'm going to just run the code. And it says, okay, if I just say no, did I press that one? Yeah, now, if I say no, if you see it checks, it never gets to the loop and goes after that. Long story short, do while, do it once, check at the end, while check at the beginning. If it is correct, then get inside the. Does that make sense? Okay, one quick example, Joseph, always to remember. We have two types of restaurants, right? One, first you are going to pay, then you are going to receive the service. It's at the beginning. The second is like a do while, right? First you eat your dinner, your lunch, then you go and check, then you go and pay, okay? Let's go quickly to the next example together. And little by little, I'm going to ask you to help me. So now you see, here we have these parts. Look at this. We have initializer, right? We have the updater, and we have a checker. Imagine that you don't have any updater. So it says that at the beginning, let's consider counter equal to 0. Let's consider stop is equal to 5. And I'm going to bring you to the last part, which is a while here, saying that as long as counter is less than stop. What is counter at the beginning, comma? Right. You're muted, but yeah, you said correctly, 0. How about stop? What is stop? It is going to be 5. So I'm saying do these things as long as counter, which at the beginning is 0, is less than 5. My question, in this part, we are going to update the value of counter. Every time that we get there, we are going just to update it. So first round, counter is equal to counter plus 1. So it's going to turn it to 1. So it's going to print 1. Next time, 2, 3. But when it gets to 5, imagine 5. Is 5 less than 5? No. Then we're going to get outside the loop. Does that make sense? Huh? Okay, so everyone, here is the code. You have it. Just play around with different things. And one of the things that I want you to try, well, it's going to work every time. It's going to print, yeah, one number from 1 all the way to 5. But one of the things that I want you to do is just imagine that we don't have any updater here. What's going to happen?
It just spams 0 for infinite.
Infinite zeros, right? So that's one of the common actually mistakes that we might see here and there. That people have initializer, have checker, but they forget to have updater or a proper way of updater. We're gonna see that in some examples. Awesome. Okay, let's go to the next example and see. Okay, that's a challenge. Guys, write a program that types 5 hellos, and please use the same structure, do while. Whoever could finish, please just type the answer. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Lovely. Okay. One more person. Okay. Let me say something here. I say, instead of right line counter, as I learned from Alex and Michael, we just need to say hello, and it should work. Look, 5 hellos over there. Okay. So one thing, one question. Imagine that we have 100 comma as the initial value for counter. You see that? Counter is 100. Let me ask you one thing. Is 100 less than 5? Yes or no? So definitely no. Okay, but when I run that, look what's going to happen. It shows you 1 hello. And the reason for that is, look, it says that counter is 100, yep. Stop is 5, yep. I'm gonna get to this. Counter is equal to, now counter is even worse. It is 101. But it shows you the message, hello, and then it's going to check. Look at this. If I just convert this one, I need to get rid of here and definitely checker. This is the checker, right? If I change that do while to while, look at the result. And let me just say, console writes line. This is after the loop or after the while loop. And I run it, you see, it goes to, this is after the while loop. It never gets inside and does anything. right? In other words, guys, before I know that we have something called breakpoint, that is how I just said. I used lots of print here and there to understand what is happening in the code, right? To see if it hits this part or not. Okay, I have this one, I have this one, but the condition. So we just got some ideas about differences between these two. And thank goodness, yeah, you answered it correctly here. And now I say, write a C# program using do while that prints numbers from 1 to 10, displaying each number followed by its production with, okay, that's challenging. So how about this, guys? Anybody can? Just to give you a stress, we have 3 minutes to finish this. And after that, I'm gonna have a quick review, and then we are going to have a break, okay? So let's start. Hey, bravo. Wow, lots of great answers. Excellent. Sean, Alex, Kevin. Wow, great. So based on what I learned, let's just see if this code is going to work. Technically, we have initializer, and then we are going to have 1 here, 1 multiply 12. I just use this kind of funny characters to just show the multiplication. And then I added 1 into counter. Some people might say, Reza, instead of that kind of way, it's more professional to say plus equal 1. You have all the rights. Yes, this is a better way of showing that. And let's see if it works first. Yeah, it is going to show, but even you might say, Reza, because it is just 1 in the incrementation is 1 at a time, so just say counter plus plus. It's gonna do the same thing, right? But I don't like actually. I don't like. They're not aligned. You know what I'm saying? Is it possible that we can align it? Any idea? Just try. And yeah, Google how to align a variable. I intentionally say, please Google it. And if you find that, it should happen in this line, right? So when you find that, just send this line, the modified version of this line to me, please. Don't worry, Alex. Okay, let me just Google it and see if I can find. Okay, no. So look at this one. Guys, do you see this when we say counter here, comma 2? Let's see if it's going to work. So what I learned, if I say counter 2 and let's run the code, look what's going to happen. Yay! It's going to have 2 character space, right? And then it's going to keep it on the right side. Is it possible if I say 5, for instance? I'm sorry. Is it possible that if I say 5 here, let's see what's going to happen. Yay, it's going to be 5 characters, but that's too much. Let's just keep it 3, for example. And so what if you want to have first numbers, then spaces? I have no clue, but let's just try negative. See how it works. Yay. It's going to make it from left to right. Does that make sense? Okay. Just try that on your code and see how we can manage it. Bravo, Joseph. Yeah. Great. Okay. It's pretty close to 10:29. Well, it's let me tell you something, everyone. I want to share something with you, and that is just knowing how the previous test went. Out of 22 submissions that we had, 2 just made horrible kind of dumping questions into ChatGPT and got those. That was like very much obvious. So I couldn't close my eyes on that false. And yeah, I just gave zeros to those 2. 6 more we had people that they partially used, cheated, they grouped together and had. But let me give you my what I learned from years. I found somebody who did similar things, back and forth, talking to department. At the end, I was the bad man who and they just switched that person's class from my class to another class. So I want to give you one result conclusion out of this. Whether we want it or not, they treat they treat the students as clients. Partially, it is very much great that we consider rights for students, but the thing is, having that in mind that, okay, if there is any complaint, we always take the side of a student, it's going to just make the results the way that we see at the moment. There's a very kind of dismal statistics that says something around 30% of people getting their certificates, they can find relevant jobs. And just look at the number of people that we have in the class and the number of people who had healthy submissions. I want to tell you one result. Guys, there is no way that you try your best, come to sessions, following the instructions that we just see provided by Prof. Narendra and so on, and we think that we are not going to get the best result. Does that make sense? It's exactly like the statistics. It talks to us. 14 people actively almost always participate. They do not cheat. They do their best. And sooner or later, we are going to get the result. Period. No doubt. Okay, Reza, I have, and there are a few people that I know, thanks to their honesty, I could understand that they had some difficulties here and there. But I see the submissions is perfect for their assignments. So something is missing here. Whether I need extra time, whether I get extra help, that help could be a person, that help could be I don't know. I'm not very much curious about that part, but my concern is we don't have that strength when we deal with exams. So what should we do? I have been there. I always had the fear of coding. The only way is using all the possible tools and find which one works the best for you. Is it going to be the videos using W3 Schools, asking ChatGPT to help you when you face trouble as a tutor, not as a kind of problem solver, asking Centennial to provide 4 hours free of charge to tutoring service for you during the week. Each week you have 4 hours, tutor services and so on. I don't know what works the best for you, but and if you need to talk to me one-on-one, I wanted to suggest, but I thought that, okay, let's just say to the crowd. And if you think that you need to sit together and look at the problem both and find the best possible answers, just having brainstorm, let's just do it. Okay, don't hesitate to say, Reza, I want to talk to you. And it's going to be online session. Most of the time I dedicate in other place that I teach, I have some extra kind of things. I made a kind of calendar. People can just book for 15 minutes and feel free, especially I dedicate Saturday totally to Centennial. So if it is Saturday evening, by all means. The other days, I try my best to collaborate. By saying that, now it is 10:34. Let's just consider it 10:35. So 10:45, we're going to continue our session. If there is any question, let me know. Otherwise, see you in 10 minutes. Okay. I hope you enjoyed your short break. Let's just continue. For those friends who want to work, the for this topic in general, for loop, I already had provided let me just go there for new labs. Yeah, if you see, it's just recently, 3 nights ago, I could say, I worked on them. So this one is kind of like mainly based on Narendras and some of the other stuff that I have provided. And it is classified into basics, then intermediate, and then kind of advanced. And yeah. Sorry, the test was very hard. Can we have next? Alex, Alex. Yeah, I'm gonna make it more difficult. How about that? Okay, so the thing is, and there are challenging questions, but maybe Reza said, I want something. No, and that's why I just said, please pick 20 out of 23 questions that we have. I'm saying this is mainly based on if I bring you back to the previous old questions, you see here we had do while and some lab exercises. So I just combined them all together and made, you see here, for instance, review for conditions and so on. And the other alternative that we have is a little bit easier. And you're going to have that, but because we cannot cover everything, high probably the deadline would be 2 weeks from now. If I see that it is going to be part of the reading week, I'm gonna postpone it to after the reading week, right? But I wanted to make sure that we are going to have our submissions for assignment number 4, so people are not gonna mistakenly copy upload the answers inside wrong folder. That mostly happens. Okay. Again, you are not going to study all the topics, but you can start working on them. I'm gonna post them today. The thing is, just one thing funny, Alex, I want to share with you. I always had that impression from the profs that they wanted to prove that they did something in the class while they didn't do that much by just giving us tough questions in exams. And I very much disliked it. I could easily use word HATE for those kind of exams. Still, I suffer from the feeling that I had. I think if the things that we learned is 100, the exam should be something like 80 to 90% of that. While I remember the time that they taught us 10%, they expected something like 80%. Those feelings. Anyway, so if we go to this, this time, I'm gonna share the code with you all. And this time, let's just reverse and see what the code does. Okay. So please, everybody, trace the code, desk check, and run the code and explain to this old guy, how does this code work? Anyone who is volunteer to explain, please type 1. No pressure, but
I'll try to give it a shot.
awesome. Thank you very much. Please.
So from my understanding, so we're starting at 50, we're going in increments of 10, and the stop, let's just call it the stop number is 80. And it's like I said, it's only increasing in 10, hence why you see 50, 60, 70, 80.
Excellent, lovely. One quick question. So this is the answer at the moment. I'm curious, if I just get rid of that equal sign, is it going to change the output by any chance? You think? Why are you asking, Reza? Just run it.
That's what I was doing.
So
yeah, it only shows 50, 60, 70. You're right.
So let's just discuss that part. So imagine that it is already 70. The start is 70. So 70 plus 10, it's going to be what? 80. If there is no, what do we call it? Equal sign. Is 80 less than 80? No. So we're gonna just get outside the loop, right? But if it is less than or equal, because the equal, we say or, means one of them could be true, and we are going to consider it as a true state. So then 80 is going to get there. We print 80, then it becomes 90, and 90 is not less than or equal 80. Then we don't print 90, that kind of thing, right? Okay, thank you very much. And another question: what if I say start 500? So let's say console right line. Guys, I'm lazy, sorry. Before console right line, after. So you know that before the loop, after the loop. So it's not going to print anything, Joseph. True, false?
Yeah, because you're starting at 500. And the stop is at 80, right? So 500 is more than 80.
Let's just try it together, okay? And then first we are going to see the result, and then we are going to explain based on the result. How about that?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So we run it, and it's going to show 500. So let's just go through it together. So that's before we have it there, right? We get into the loop. We type the value of start, which is 500. We add 10 into it. Now it is 510. And then we check, is 510 less than 80? It's not.
No.
Then we go to, so technically, even if it is false, we get into it once. Right? That's the assumption that I had, that I think it is something like this. You know, the difference between these two, while and do while, is in this one, we first check, and if you have the visa, you're welcome. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. So that visa to get inside is having a start less than or equal stop, but we don't have that. So we have the before, we have the after, but we are not going to get inside the loop.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Guys, if you want to, for instance, use ChatGPT, give me a second. I want to make sure. Got it.
Did you see your hair in the picture? Hey, it's quite a bit different color.
Which hair? I
Or
didn't
just
get...
just the
when you had
last
all your
screen that you had
profiles.
popped.
When you had all of your profiles up.
Oh, profiles.
You know, when you just had a window where it had all of your profiles that you log in with the...
Oh, yeah, let's just, I got it. Yeah, you're talking about this?
Yeah.
Hey, look at that. Hey.
Yeah, it's my future picture. I very much like this. It was the last travel that I had with family when I wanted to come to Canada. Okay. Anyway, let me just go to to the question that I want to ask from my friend. And there we go. Okay. Here I'm going to say, what are the differences between, oh, sorry, English is my second language. No, not this one. Between and I have a friend from Hong Kong, and we just tease each other, picking the grammar errors of each other. So we both have lots of grammatical mistakes. But, you know, sometimes we say we passed already the TOEFL test, so we don't need to bother. Guys, sorry if you see. Okay, now let's look at the result that it says. So it says that first snippet, it says while loop. This loop first checks the condition before executing the, and the second do while. This loop executes the body of the loop at least once before checking the condition. Do you see how we use this is the constructive way of using it. If you want to, if you have any question, definitely reach out to me, but you can ask from GPT as well. I wish when I wanted to learn, we had some facilities like that. Getting to the next part together, here, I just swapped the start and stop value. We tested that. Okay, let me ask you, is it going to type 80 inside the exactly taken yesterday? So the thing is, guys, can you please tell me, is it going to print 80? If yes, please type 80. Lovely, thank you very much. And this time, I wanted to do something this time, and I'm going to ask you to do something different. Can I have everybody's attention, please? Everyone, just look at me instead of the code. It happens a lot in many programs, and we are going to use that from now on. You want to calculate the sum or the average of something, right? So at the beginning, you are going to have a container, empty container, has 0 in it. And every time you're going to take something, you're going to get something from the user and place it inside the container. Do you want me to continue? Yes. Do you want me to continue? Yes. Do you want me to continue? Yes. And then every time, whatever the sum had, whatever the container had, is equal to the old container plus a new thing that you add into it. Does that make sense? So let's just practice. Imagine that I have a container, and then I'm going to place something inside it, right? For instance, at the beginning, 0. Now I place 10. What do we have here now? 10. Now I'm going to grab 20. What do we have in the old container? 10 plus 20. Now it is 30. And I'm going to add 1. 30 plus 1, 31. And the loop keeps going. If you know the number of courses that you have in a semester, imagine 5. So you're going to use for loop, saying that for 5 times, ask user to enter that. Otherwise, you're going to make a kind of nice condition. Either you're going to ask, do you want to continue? Yes. Do you want to continue? Yes, yes. Or you're going to just have a nice condition. Press enter negative to exit. That kind of thing. So you don't need every time you type yes, 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 yes. Say, come on. You know, it's kind of cumbersome if it is 100 times. So you enter the numbers, negative is the condition to exit. So let's go together and have that sum. And I'm gonna challenge you by asking something more than that. So at the beginning, the container is 0, whatever we have, so beginning, 50 plus 0, it's going to be what? Now 50, a better way of showing that is whatever sum has add start into it. That's a kind of more professional way of saying that. Then you're gonna add 1 into a start and you keep going. I'm sorry. Okay, and then you're gonna just do this. Yay. 1935 is the overall summation. What I want you to do is, please, first, change this to double. I'm gonna tell you why. And make this one work. And the average is AVG, which I think that we need to define somewhere. Don't ask me why AVG is double. And if you see that we have still a squiggly line over there, if I say it's equal to 0, it's going to get rid of that. But, well, definitely we need to calculate it somewhere. Okay, I'm going to give you the code. I don't know how to complete it. Please complete that for me. We have 3 minutes for that. Please start. Hmm. Okay. How about this? Let me ask you one quick question. If I say, some of the values that we have here, what's gonna be the thingy? 2000. Right? From 50 all the way to 80, it shows that. Let me go to the question that we had a few seconds ago. And if I say all the numbers except 80, it's going to be, look at the sum over there. I'm going to say equal to sum, open parentheses. All the numbers before 80, it's going to be 1935. That's the number that we got it, okay? So here's the time if you want to play around with the values and just, yeah, where is the question? Here it is. I set start less than stop. Let me just change it to less than or equal. Then we are gonna get that 2015. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just get rid of this part for now. And let's not have this part. Okay, so the sum at the moment would be 2015. Do you see that? Okay. Everybody agree? What we actually want to do, I have forgotten. Michael, do you remember the number of values that we have in any cell? It should be count, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. If I say calculate the whole thing, yes, 31, right? That kind of thing. And the average, guys, I know the average, you can simply just say, Reza, why are you teasing us? This is something that you can say average, and you have that, and it gives you the answer right away. But what I wanted to do is saying this number divided by this number. Does that make sense? Okay. Maybe you think that Reza, it is super fast. Let's just have a desk check. If it is not very much readable, just trust me, I have numbers from 50 all the way to 80. So I'm gonna bring it a little bit. So I said here, all the numbers in the column, just sum them up for me, and it is going to give me 2015. And I said, how many values do we have there? And it says 31, right? And then I said, okay, let's divide the overall, the summation of all the numbers divided by the total numbers, and it's going to give me. I want to implement similar things in the code. Does that make sense? For doing that, and you are going to see this concept very much from now on. So please just be with me. Most of the time we use something, we say count, and that count should be an integer. So I'm gonna say count, and at the beginning, because I haven't entered any number, I'm gonna say count is equal to 0, right? And then every time that I get the start, add it to sum, right? It's like, look at this. It's like, let me show you one thing. It's like every time you see that it's from 1 all the way to 31, it's like every time I say whatever you have, add 1 into it. Get the first number, now it is 1. Add 1 into the number, then add 1 to the number of counters. Does that make sense? Everybody could follow that? Yes or no? Yeah. Is there any question, any concern? So I quickly say again, every time that I have a number, now it is 50, counter was 0, add 1 into it, which is going to be next number, then add 1 into that counter. So it's going to be 1, 2, all the way to. Okay, look at this one. Guys, I might make mistake, but let's try. Here, I'm going to say counter plus plus. You can say counter equal to counter plus 1, but that's a little bit more professional. And let's do something. Let's have 3 separate rows saying that the counter value is, I'm sorry, count and the sum. And how about this? You might say that, Reza, I don't need to even have another thingy over there. I can just simply say sum divided by counter, but I prefer to have a separate thing. And I'm going to just say the average is AVG, right? Let's just run this together and see how it works. Yay. And what I'm going to do, and let's have that one. Okay, so I give everybody the code, try it at your end and see if it works. And whenever you are done with that, please give me a signal, type 1 so I can continue, okay? Thank you, Alex. Michael, Joseph, let's have 2 more ones. Eskin, awesome. Okay, awesome. So let's go to the next question. This time we are going to start from the higher number. We go backward, and then we check the stop would be 20. So we start like 50, 49, 48, 47. We go backward. Does that make sense? And what we are going to do is, if the number is divisible by 3, if the number that we deal with is the multiplication of 3, like 48 is one of them, 45 is one of them, then we are going to print that. Else we don't do anything and we go backward. Guys, 50, is it divisible by 3? No, it is not. How about 49? No, it's not. How about 48? Yes, it is. And so on and so forth. So let's just run this together and see how it works. After finishing the session, I'm going to upload a new Alex. I'm going to upload a new version of zip file. You see that I changed a few things. Still, it's a kind of ongoing thing for me. I always change. So uploading a zip file, a new version. If by any chance anyone wants to have, okay. the next thing that we have together would be um, um, well, there are two things that the reason that we don't have the code at the beginning, except one session that I provided that, and because that was a kind of time limit for the midterm test, for test one. If we have the code, then where is the challenge, right? So I want everybody asking you questions and trying our best, and then we're going to get. Okay, so the question that asked is, write a C# program that repeatedly asks the user to enter a positive number. The program should sum all the positive numbers, and the termination condition is entering a negative number or non-positive number, right? So, guys, let's just implement it by, what do we call it? Do while. Okay. We have the beginning of the code. Here it is. And you have the question. And I want you, please. And whoever could finish, please send it to my direct message. Thank you. For those who joined us later, this is the challenge that we are working on. And these are the first 4 lines. You have it on the chat box. Okay. Meanwhile that you try, Joseph, read it just explain it. Forget about these 4 lines. Read it for now. In 2 minutes, I want you please explain, and I'm gonna be your operator, your assistant to type the code. How about that?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, so Joseph, I'll give you a heads up. I'm very clumsy, so bear with me. I might have lots of mistakes. So what are the first things that I need to consider? We can have these two at the same time. Apparently I can. Okay. So any suggestion?
So we first have to tell it that as you mentioned before in the beginning here, it says int sum equals 0 to start off at
How about
0.
this? How about this? Because I didn't have a chance to read the question, I'm gonna read it and correct me if I didn't understand it correctly.
Sure.
It says that write a C program that repeatedly asks the user to enter a positive number, and the program should sum all the positive numbers entered and stop when the user enters a negative, let's say, non
Numeric.
positive number. It's more accurate because how about poor 0, right? Finally, it should print the sum of all entered positive numbers, right? Everything. Okay. I think that the things that we need to have would be a number, Reza. That's one thing. Hey, come on, please. And the other thing is sum that we want to have. And the other thing, I'm gonna tell you why it gives us hard time. The other thing is we said we need to use a do while. I guess it didn't mention anything about do while, right? Write a situation program using do while. It's more okay. So definitely the numbers that we want to get would be integers, and the sum should be integer as well. Can we say number is equal to 0? That's my question. Goma, do you think that I need to say int number equal to 0?
No.
No, we can't, because it's asking for an integer, positive.
Or okay, positive. But how about sum? Can we say equal to 0?
No.
Okay, good. Correct me, Mohammed. You're absolutely right. For numbers, we are not going to initialize because we are going to get the numbers from the user. And we said that please enter positive numbers. Does that make sense? And if
Yes.
you say number equal to 0, that's useless. You know what I'm saying? That's useless because you want to add 0 to whatever the number is. Okay. What's the point? Does that make sense, everybody? We want to get the numbers, I repeat it, we want to get the numbers from the user. So please do not initialize it. But let me ask you, do you remember the container example that I told you? We have a container. At the beginning, it has nothing, 0 inside it. What a number that I'm going to get next, 10, put it inside. So it's going to be sum equal to whatever I get from the user. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, so that is why we say sum is equal to 0 at the beginning. But now we need to say do and what? I'm gonna say while. Guys, that is something that I always forget. Put semicolon at the end of while. I always forget. Okay, and then I have to say, as long as number is what? Is greater than 0, positive numbers. Does that make sense? Don't pay attention to this squiggly line now. And the reason for that is because we don't have any value at the moment. If you say, for instance, equal to 10, which is not correct, it's going to go away. So let's not get distracted by that squiggly line. Guys, everything is fine till this moment. Now, even Reza, listen, if you don't know how to work, you know that how to write a message. You can say, please enter a positive number. And do not forget, we all know the problem statement, so I'm going to just hide it for now. And the best is to have right, because we don't want to break it to the next line. And correct me, this is the part that I have always issue. If I say number is equal to, let's get, what's the, Joseph, getting from the user, what should I say? Console what? Getting from the user. Okay, console dot, I just read
Sorry, I
you.
was on mute.
Yeah, but I got it. So it's going to be red line and, oh shoot, it gives me that. What should I do here? Kevin, can you help?
Maybe
Can you?
convert to integer.
Convert, yeah.
Oh boy, thank you. Convert dot to, where are you? To
Int.
32, for instance, and then we are, guys, what is now my problem? Hey, come on, problem after each. Open parenthesis.
Yes,
close
the next
parenthesis.
semicolon should come after that.
Yes, guys, I promise to study more. Guys, these are the problems that you're gonna see at the beginning, heart breaking, but hey, when you first see this problem once, you're not gonna repeat that problem. Okay, so I have the skeleton. I'm gonna just bring that inside do while, and the reason for that is, listen to me. We want to get a number, ask the user, please enter the value and check if that is positive, then we are gonna keep going and adding. But here, if, listen to this, if the number is greater than 0, do what? Say sum is equal to sum plus number. Did you get that? Why I did this? Let me just show you one Excel file. Imagine that we have just 3 numbers. And those 3 numbers are, the first number that I enter is 10, the second number that I enter is 20, and the last number is 30. Definitely the sum of these numbers, as you drag and drop, you can see that the sum is 30, is 60 here, right? You can see here but okay, Reza, show the sum. Here it is, right? Now it shows the 60. But if I add, for instance, minus 20 here, and I don't check if the number is positive, then add it to sum, then look at this one. The sum of this is going to be 40. I don't want to include negative numbers in my sum. Does that make sense? I don't want to add, for instance, any number to counter. Joseph, if I want to calculate the average of these 3 numbers, it would be 20, isn't it? But if I, for instance, add, if I make mistake and I add that minus 20 and add 1 to it, let's look at the difference. The average of this is going to be also, the average of this is going to be 10, which is absolutely wrong. While I want to have the average of these 3, which is going to be 20. Okay, getting back to the code here. After that, I'm gonna say console.write. I'm sorry. CW. Yeah, I'm lazy. Just okay. Let me just not be lazy.
the sum is sum. There we go. That's one way of implementing. Guys, everybody could relate to that. Okay, let me just run that and I'm gonna check the questions. Okay, first 10, then 20, then 30, and look at this one. It is going to, if I say minus 20, for example, it correctly says it is 60. One of the things that I did, I could do it better, is using this one. No matter if you have only one line or 100 lines, the best is to enclose them using curly braces. That's a block of code. I want to tell you, if there is just only one line, you don't need that for if, and for anything like that. But that's a best practice. Always have a block of code. Okay. Let me just go to the, okay, first thing first, let's have Michael send this code. Kevin send this code. I very much liked your approach, Kevin. Thank you very much. Michael, bravo, excellent. And Alex, thank you. And now you have a simplified version of code. Please run it and see how it works. Okay, I just added that as a, I'm gonna talk about it. Let's go to a code that I asked you a few seconds ago to complete. Can I have your attention? Let's first do the desk check together. Okay. Guys, the logic is similar. A tiny, teeny difference you can see here. At the beginning, I said the sum is 0. That's what we did before too. Then I said, let's have a Boolean value and it is equal to true. Then I said, do as long as, what is that? Do as long as the flag is true. Do as long as still it is valid. Keep asking the question from the user. Look at this one. I say, enter a positive number, any negative number to exit. Does that make sense? And then I got that from the user and I said, place it inside number. I could use int number outside, so I don't need to every time say that's an integer. I think that that would be a better practice. Let me just correct my code, Control C here. I prefer this one. That's funny. Every time that I see my code, I just want to. Okay, so get that number, check if the number is positive, then add that number into some. Imagine the container 0 at the beginning, 10 into it, now 10, next time 20, now 30, and so on and so forth. Else, look at this. If the number is not positive, and hey, Reza, you said positive, it should be this, okay? 0 has no meaning. Anyway, again, a better version. So if a number is not positive, like any negative or 0, any negative number or 0 to exit, okay, then we are going to change the flag into false. And when it is false, guys, what's going to happen? It's not going to continue. Does that make sense? Everyone? Does that make sense? You might say, Reza, what do you mean? Okay. Let me ask you one thing, and it's going to break the computer, but let's just do it. I'm gonna say while true, if I say while true, nothing here, nothing there, what's gonna happen? It's going to just do something forever. Does that make sense? But what if I say, for instance, let's have, instead of saying true, I'm going to do one thing. Let's say Boolean flag equal to true. And I'm going to say flag. It does exactly the same thing. Let me just say right line to show you the thing. It does exactly the same thing, non-stop, right? Everyone is happy with that till this moment. So instead of flag, guys, if I say while 5 is greater than 2, what's going to happen? It's going to do the same thing because 5 greater than 2 is always correct. It is always true. So as long as the condition is true, I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep doing that. Everybody got that? Yeah, lovely. Look at this one. I'm going to say count equal to 0 and definitely equal to 0. And definitely when I say that, I should say hint at the beginning. This is not Python, Reza, right? Okay. So I'm going to just say repeating. And now I say if count is equal. Guys, don't tell anybody. If count is equal to 5, what are we going to do? Exactly, I'm going to say flag, but I want to do it my way. I'm going to say flag is equal to false. Does that make sense? And let's have a flag here. So at the beginning, and I have forgotten to do one thing, I need to say count plus plus. Let's see what's going to happen. Guys, at the beginning, what is the flag? Everybody, please type your answer. What is the flag? Is it true or false? Please type T for true, F for false. Lovely. Thank you very much. Bravo. Awesome team. Lovely. Thank you very much. So do as long as it is true. So first I'm gonna say repeating count plus plus. Now count is going to become 1. Is count equal to 5? No. So we are not gonna run that. Again, it is true. We keep going 2, 3, 4. When count becomes 5, let me ask you one thing. What is gonna happen? We are gonna convert the flag from true to false. Does that make sense? So we are not gonna keep doing it. Maybe you want to see the value of count just to see what is happening. I'm gonna run it. This time it's not gonna be infinite. At the beginning it is 0, so we are gonna print it. You might say, Reza, how about this? Do 2 jobs, guys. This is super important and not everybody knows that. And if you want to tease somebody, don't, but you can just ask that thingy. Instead of having two lines for this, you can just say plus plus. Okay, you can see that. Let's just see, and it is going to do exactly the same thing. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And please pay attention to this very subtle point. Count is 0. I'm going to print that 0, then I'm going to add 1 into it. So first it's going to be 0, then it's going to be 1, 2, all the way to 4. Next line, when it becomes after coming, imagine that it is 4 now. So I print 4, then I go to the next line. While I added 1 into it, it is 5. Is 5 equal to 5? Yes, then go outside of the loop. So I'm not going to print 5. And now, Joseph, that is the point that I wanted to share if you want to tease anybody.
And if you wanted to keep the 5 there, it would be equal, sorry,
Greater than or equal.
greater than or equal to, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let me just show you one trick here. I say plus plus count. What? Look at the previous result that we had, and now look at the new result. It starts from 1. And the reason for that is when you say plus plus count, first it is going to add that and print it, then it goes to the next line. You see the difference? If it is count plus plus, it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If it is plus plus count, first you add it and print it, then you go to the next. Whatever you learned from this, please write it somewhere. 10, 15 years ago, that was one of the no question interview questions. That what is the difference between I++ and plus plus I? Okay, come on. Hey. Now let's go to the logic and see if we can relate to that after talking about these introductions. Look at this one. At the beginning, we say that sum is 0, and then we say number, we are going to get integer numbers. We say Boolean flag. Guys, you can name it flag, you can name it to continue or whatever. To continue is true, means that let's keep going. I say please enter a positive number, any negative number or 0 to exit. So I get that number. If the number is greater than 0, please add that number into sum. Else, change the flag to false, change the to continue flag to false, then we are not going to keep moving. Let's just try it. So I'm going to say 1, 2, and 3. For the next number, if I say 0 or any negative number like 10, it's going to say the sum is 6. Does that make sense? You might say, Reza, how about average? I want to calculate the average as well. By all means, to make sure that everything works fine, say double here. Also say double AVG here. And then after finishing, say the sum is, I need to say AVG is equal to sum divided by by count. Did I add anything like count? I need to have a counter as well. My apologies, just give me a second. I'm going to say int count equal to 0. So now we know when I say count plus plus, I'm going to just add it over there. And then it's going to be sum divided by count. every time I'm going, and let's just see if it works properly. For 10, 20, and 30, the average is 20. Let's see if it works. Fine. I'm gonna say 10, 20, 30, and the next number is -1, and it's going to say the sum is 16. I forgot to say. And the average is AVG, right? Okay. Ten, 20, 30 -1. Yay, it works. Just to spend a few seconds, I'm gonna just send you, I'm sorry, I'm gonna just send you the code to everybody. Joseph said count plus plus is new to me, but makes sense. Post and pre, true. Yeah.
When you were asking, what did you learn from the session?
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And let me just add this one. Okay, so I just added this one, which we calculate the average. And the next one is the simplest version. You remember that I started getting help from Joseph to read the question, and we went, so this is a very simplified version. Why I said that after, because you might go through this and you say, I couldn't understand this. And then you get to this one, which is a kind of a little bit more complicated, say that, okay, it exacerbated the situation. But we get there and we see, that's the logic behind it. It's just different way of implementing, okay? Okay, so now guys, I received that comment from my friends that Reza, you don't give a break and you have all the rights to have that complaint. Now it is 11:49. Guys, you are young. Let's enjoy. Let's have 10 minutes break. We are going to start sharp at 12. How about that? Okay. Thank you. I'm going to mute myself.
Reza, can I ask a quick question before we go on break?
Sure, please.
So the code I sent you in private message, for some
Sorry.
reason, if I write my console write line, the sum is the sum, under while continue, it doesn't actually print it.
Can you please do me a favor and send me your code?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So guys, the rest, please enjoy your break time. I'm gonna just have a discussion with my friend, okay? So let's just go through it. Int num1 into sum equal to 0. So do the job all the way to continue. First thing first. Let's have that one. Let's see. Console. Convert to integer. Okay, let me ask you one question.
Mhm.
You place that sum, showing the sum inside the loop and the time that it is positive. That's your logic. So in that case, the last time that you have the condition, which is going to be false, you don't actually have any reason to show that. It only shows the sum when the number is 1. The termination is when the number is not positive, right?
Right.
So that is why the best place, your code is awesome. The only issue is the best place to do that is showing the sum after the loop. Let's just
Yeah.
try now. You got the point, right?
Yeah, I got the point, but it wasn't actually showing the sum when I put it
Yeah,
there.
because it was inside the if. Let me just try your code. Say 10, 20, 30. And if I say -1, for example, it shows only enter a non-zero positive number. So I think that this is not a message that we want to say. We say now by entering non-positive, you want to quit. That kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
So
I see. So it only showed the sum if once the loop breaks. I see.
yeah.
I was
If
confused
you
why it wasn't showing it each time. I thought it was supposed to do
Oh,
that each time.
okay, I think that it should, and let's just do it both. I'm gonna say this one, but the sum until now is,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna say we are inside of the loop. It should work. If not, then you found something that I need to think about. Let's just see. So if I say 10, I expect it shows the sum until now is 10. We are inside the loop. If I say 20, the sum is, and let's just, oh, I'm sorry. Let's just enter a 10, 20, 30. And now if we say -1, this is going, does that make sense?
Yeah. I
Okay.
was just confused why I wasn't showing it when it was outside the loop, but now it will show it once the loop actually ends because it is outside the loop. It makes sense.
Yeah,
I got it.
okay, good question. So enjoy your 6 minutes of break and we're gonna continue, okay?
Thank you, Reza. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Okay, welcome back, you beautiful people. I realized that I used sometimes I forget that I have already changed those things. I added the average previously, and just the name instead of saying number of inputs. I use number of inputs, while in the previous attempt I said count. The logic is the same. So it's instead of saying count or counter plus plus, I said number of inputs plus plus. By saying that, let me just save it. We already finished this file, and we are going to move forward to the next part of the loop. Again, I'm not gonna take your precious time. The slides are amazing, provided by Narendra for reviewing, but you see now it says about for loop. And did we have while? Yeah, sorry, do while, we talked about it. Yeah, for loop. And for loop is super simple. One question that you might receive is it possible to change for loop to while or while loop to for? Is it possible? We are going to answer that question. Hopefully by the end of today, if not next week. But if we go to the loop that we are in here, for each is a super easy and convenient way of going through the list, array, any form of data structure that we have some values and we want to go from one to the other. We use it in modern languages. So for each is the job for us, but they decided not to have it in the first semester. Whenever you know for, do while, it's gonna be just a matter of few seconds that you learn for each. Let's go to this one. Now it is very easy for us. We know, sorry. Guys, give me a second, my apologies. Okay, look at this one. Here we have initializer both at the same time. Yep, here. And look at the updater. We have it inside the body of loop. You remember that we said, for instance, count plus plus or get the sum or anything like that. So, but the checker, the things that checks if you want to keep continuing, for while it's gonna be at the beginning, for do while, as we saw, it's at the end. And here are some samples, and it just says the differences, like the checker at the beginning for while it's at the end for do while. My suggestion is just to use this as the review. And let's quickly go to while and for. These are some of the stuff that I have provided. And look at this one, guys. Very simple. Let's just explain the first one for you. You see that I said for I, what is the value of I at the beginning? 0. As long as I is less than or equal 10, just keep doing. And then every time I'm going to just add 1 into it. You might say, what is happening here? Okay, look. It's going to show you 11 times hello from Reza, but you might say, Reza, it was 0, but it shows 1. That is what I did here. If I just get rid of that. Most of the time when we want to count numbers, we start from 1. We start from 1, right? We don't start from 0. So that is why I said, let's have I plus 1. Otherwise, it's going to start from 0 all the way to 10. Does that make sense, Goma? Is it fine? Okay. The first step, this is super important. The first round, we go through these two. From the second round all the way to the end, we just work on these two. I repeat it. For the first round, I work on these two. For the second round, all the way to the end, we just work on these two. Does that make sense? Okay, tell me, what is the initializer? The name is self-descriptive. It is this part. What is the checker? It's this part. You check a condition. What is the updater every time you're going to add one into it? Okay, so how about this? Let me just make the numbers smaller, even 3, and let's just see the result. Well, okay, look at this one, Joseph. Do you see this is highlighted, this part? And if I say go to the next, it goes where? To check the condition. And if you see the results, still we don't have anything, still we haven't got into the loop. And if I say keep going, and I got there, when I go to the next line, it says that, okay, hello from Reza 0. Doesn't make sense. But look at the beautiful part. The next round, do I go to the initializer? Definitely no. I add one into the checker, sorry, the updater, sorry. And then I'm going to go to checker to see if it is 1. You see I is 1 now, less than 3, yes. Then I go, look at this, print 1, and I get back there. I add now, guys, I now is still 1. When I leave that and I go to the next, I turn into 2. I plus plus compared to plus plus I. Huh? And look at this. I print 2, and finally I'm gonna go there. I check still it is less than, but when it is 4, 4 is not less than or equal, so we are not gonna get there. So that is why we have there. So everything is super clear for everybody. Okay, lovely. Let me ask you one thing, guys. Is it possible that I use this part? Let me start from the simple questions. Can I say int I here and don't say I here? Yes or no? Michael, is it delicious? Right. Okay, so look at this. Yes, it's going to work. Okay. One more thing. Is it possible that I say I equal to 0 here and I get rid of that part? Let's see. Yay, it works. Huh? How about this one? Is it possible to bring this guy in here and say add this one and get the same result? Yay. Guys, is it clear? Okay. I just did the easy job. Control C. My program is, let me just see. For assignment 4, can you please explain part 5? Okay, for any question outside the scope that we are now covering, I'm gonna stay after the class, okay? Maria? I'm gonna answer that. So please just copy the question somewhere so I can just easily access. Okay, now you have the question, the solution, everybody, and now I have a challenge for you. And the challenge is, I don't know how, but bring that one out too. So technically, I want you to have a code that has 4 semicolon, semicolon. That is funny, but let's have it. And I want you to have condition, I don't know how, somewhere there. Alex, can I use if statement? Definitely, we need to use if statement. Definitely, we need to use if statement. Yeah. And Pooja, but then we don't need to for loop, right? Well, it's Pooja, your question is like the question that people say when they receive a math question saying that we have a barrel that in every minute we have 10 liters inside it, but there is a hole in it, and in every minute 3 liters gets out. How many minutes it's going to take to fill the barrel? And that is absolutely right to say, hey, what a waste of time. So just fix that barrel first, and then it's not going to lose 3 liters per minute. Then it's not going to be a math problem. The whole thing in programming is challenging ourselves and finding how, because that's one of the challenges, how people are going to convert while loop to for loops when it is needed and for loops to while loops when it is needed. This is the practice for that. We need to use something for solving that issue, which is not taught yet, but that's the part of challenge. To give you a hint, that's break. Using break. Okay, how about this? Guys, if I say if I is greater than or equal, greater than 3, then do what? Break. Means get outside the for loop. Break means whatever the loop is, go after it. I repeat it. Break means whatever the loop is, wherever it is, go after it. Does that make sense? Listen to this. I'm going to run the code. You remember it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is going to exactly give us the same results. Let me show you one thing here, everyone. At the beginning, I was 0. Then I added 1 into I printed that I, which was 1. Is 1 greater than 3? No. Then I keep going. Now I is 2. Print 2. Is 2 greater than 3? No. Then 3. Is 3 greater than 3? No. We print that. And then we get to 4. Let's print 4 first and then check, is 4 greater than 3? Yes, then go outside it. Listen to this. What if I said if I is greater than or equal 3, then we are going to have 1, 2, 3, and we break the code. Does that make sense? Look at this one. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and we break the code.
And Rizzo, the semicolons in the for section.
It's mandatory.
It's mandatory, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Just if we have no semicolon, you see that it's going to give us error. So we
Okay.
have semicolon. So does that make sense?
Is there a meaning behind those on the for?
Yeah, exactly. It says that we need to have first initializer, we need to have a checker, and we need to have an updater. But you are allowed the whole things that we want to learn from this practice first. It is possible, based on the conditions that you might face, bring any of those parts outside the for block. Does that make sense? Another thing, look at this one. Instead of saying for, I'm going to say something familiar. I'm going to say while, as long as I is greater than or equal, as long as I is less than or equal 3, opposite of what we had over there. Look at what we are going to have here. Listen, it is exactly doing the same thing. And if you want to not have for included, like the second last thing that we did is just to say it this way. Does it make sense? So sometimes it is possible for us to easily convert for to whiles and whiles to fors, and you need to be comfortable working with both. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to bring it back to what it was a second ago when I said while, for that kind of thing, and I'm gonna send the code. I want you, please, let's see, Michael said. Lovely, excellent, thank you, Michael. Let's just see, spend a few seconds, work on it. those who finish earlier, not a bad idea to practice convert the 4 that I have given to you. Please convert it to a while loop. Okay. Let's go together to the question that I asked you, and you see you have the answer already here, right? So this is a 4. This is taking out the elements of 4, and still it is going to work. Okay, now the next question is, write a C program that prints hello from Reza X, where X is from 1 to using a while loop. This is actually what we practiced a few seconds ago. You remember we just said as long as and we don't need to have that break part anymore, that it works. And look at the result here. Yeah, we initialize the value. We have a checker here and we have an updater here. As simple as that. It works. Okay, guys, would you please try this at your end? See if everything is fine. That's the last code. Let me just say this is 1, and after the equal signs, just copy that part and try. Whenever you are done with that, those who finished running and understanding the code as a challenge, and please send me your answer into private chat. Convert the while loop to do while, please. Lovely. Thank you, Alex. As always, great. Guys, please feel free to replace my name with your beautiful name. Okay, look at look at the let's just wait for 2 more friends to convert that. Good one, Alex. Evan, merci. Awesome. Eskim, bravo. Thank you very much. Okay. How about this? Let's just see and correct me if I made any mistake here. What I did, I initialized, I said do while. In the while part, we have the checker, and updater happens within the loop. Okay, so still we didn't do that much of 4 while we are going to. This is the question for you. And please type hello 5 times using do while, the first loop that we learned together. That's the challenge. If you have the file, it's not a challenge, it's just scrolling down. So now we have a challenge, right? So I'm answering one of the students who asked why we don't have the questions. I mean, five. We can do this. Yeah. Either whatever. Okay, that's the previous answer. Okay, Alex, merci. Awesome. Let's have one more friend using do while saying hello 5 times. Bravo, Eskim. Farhina. Awesome. It is very important where to, Joseph, thank you. It is very important to know where to put I, if it is before showing, after showing, if it is. That is why always we need to check with the small numbers. For instance, if you want something happens 100 times, just try it with something like 10 times. See, if it shows 9 times, you know that where you have placed I++, you should change it, or you should just consider that the initial value. Anyway, look at this one. So based on what I learned from you, I have provided this code, and let's just go through it together. At the beginning, counter is 0. So I'm going to say hello, and I'm going to say plus plus. Look at this one. Guys, it is highly possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is highly possible that I have this kind of thing. And what do we call it? Then it is going to show 6 times, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very simple. I can just consider it. Oh, Reza, you know what? I needed to change that one. How about this one? Instead of having that, is it possible to combine like for loop? That is what I'm going the reverse. Is it possible to say I'm sorry, counter plus plus here? Let's just see if it works. And look at the result, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In that case, we understand it. And one more thing. What if I say plus plus counter? Guys, this is where you can just feel the difference between these two. Now we have 5. You see the difference? If you say plus plus counter, you're going to change the value and then you proceed. Otherwise, if it is counter plus plus, you go to the next line and counter is going to get updated. You see that? That's a good example. I'm gonna give you the code. And for understanding, I know Reza cannot very much relate to that. So how about saying instead of hello, let's say counter, and do it that way. We can understand 0 all the way to 4. Then we are going to say counter plus plus. It's going to be 0 to 5. Okay, everything is fine, everybody? Yeah? Okay, no. So let's just keep moving. Michael texted that he needs to leave. All of you are very much dear. And now, Michael, I feel that something is missing in the class. So guys, let's be more active to just feel that, yeah. So just we have less than 1 hour, and I guarantee we have some awesome topics. After finishing that, I'm very much confident that you can start working. Guys, just one point. Standard assignments, you need to know 80% of the contents, something around there. And the rest of the 20% is something that you need to challenge yourself and Google and find the answers. For projects, you need to know 50% of the topics. The rest of the 50, you know what I'm saying? The same applies for the quizzes. Quizzes, you need to know something like 80%. The rest of the 20% is something that you need to innovate. Anyway, let's go to the next part together. Okay, I want to do one thing here. I want to I'm sorry. I don't want to miss that. So Control C. The thing is, I'm going to use counter plus plus here, and then yeah, it's going to be 1, 2. What did I do? Oh, sorry. I'm gonna tell you that's one of the questions that we have. Okay, I change updater 2 times. So, and this one is going to be the first, Control C. And this one is going to be the next. Plus plus here. And I'm going to ask you why the results are different. And then I'm going to say, now what is changed that fixed the issue? Okay. And that would be definitely plus plus here instead of there. Okay. So it's going to be everything similar to this one. Yay. Just to make sure, this is going to show 0, 1, 2, all the way to 4. Not this one, but 2 from 2 previous attempt is going to show you exactly the same 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm 100% confident about the code. Control S. And let's go to the next slide. Guys, this is the challenge for you. And it is write a C program that uses a for loop and say hello and show you X, where the X, where V. X is the loop counter starting from 0 and incrementing by 1 up to 4. 4 included kind of thing, if you have any question about it. So please. Okay. While you are trying to answer that, please take your time. Try to answer that. I'm going to give you, imagine that's a kind of quiz. Try to find the answer. We are going to just wait a little bit more. Okay. Bravo, Alex. Thank you very much. Adewale, merci. Pooja, did you have a chance to read the announcements?
Yes, I read this, yes.
Okay, don't you see your answer here?
So yeah, I think basically there is no quiz, right?
There will be quiz, but I'm not going to use the quiz now. I'm going to have one quiz later, and I have some points for that. But if your question is about labs, because you used lab quizzes, we don't have such a thing, lab quizzes. Labs are something that you do during the labs. The prof is walking around, see the monitors, have your performance written. I don't have that pleasure, unfortunately. I cannot check your monitors. Does that make sense? So that is why we have 10% for labs, 15% for assignments, combine them into actual assignments. So you're going to have only 20% for assignments. Does that make sense? And we have something that people call it 5% quizzes. I'm going to leverage that to have one mock test, call it quizzes. For the last quiz, there are always people that in final moment, they want to say that, Reza, I just want to have a pass mark or something. Lots of stories. This is something that I leverage that to use one pre-final test. People can just improve their knowledge. I use the only quiz that we have. If you go, we have only one 5% quiz. My suggestion is not a bad idea. just always read the assignments, and then it is going to have, at least I'm very much confident about my course. I always tell everything that you need to know in my announcements. And if anybody has any question about, let me just see, meet your prof, no students. Okay, I'm gonna just use my own things. I repeated that once before. I repeat it once again. Please this time pay attention. I said that we are going to have test 1 20, test 2 25, test 3 25. Labs and assignments 15 10 are going to combine, make 25. We have something which is called quizzes. I'm going to leverage that to have pre-test 3, which is going to be an overview for everything from day 1 all the way to week number 13. I'm going to leverage that to help people to get prepared. If somebody, which we are going to see some examples, didn't have time during the semester to learn, at least they can get pass mark by attending. And unfortunately, you revealed one of my cards that I never said before because now with that question, I unintentionally revealed that yes, if you don't study during the semester, still there is a chance, which is not a good message. Anyway, let's go to the next part together. This is the question that Mohammed, Joseph, and all my friends already answered using the for loop and providing hello and that kind of thingy. Where is the guy? Where are you? Oh, there we go. So guys, here is what I used with for loop as a kind of practice. I know that you're going to say, Reza, we are master of it. But as a kind of practice, just make this like, like this. Let me just put everything outside. I don't know where to put those guys, but make it like this. Can you do it, please? Here is the code. Here is all the things. Please fix that for me.
My code was already like that, so I'm cheating.
Sorry. Okay, don't worry. For test, I can't understand. I received that question. Is it possible to have unlimited attempts for a test? I don't think in any place we have such a luxury. Maybe for assignments, we can have that and the profs just mark the last one. But for the test, definitely there is a limited time and you have to attempt that. Okay. So guys, whenever you can just make it that way, please send your code to me.
I will try to do it the original way since I already have my code like that.
Yes, that's the challenge for you to put them inside the places.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is one thing, and I'm going to tell you one important point because you might say, Reza, come on, where are we going to? Let me just say, I'm sorry. I don't know why it took 2 weeks for me to still not recover. Okay, so by the way, hopefully everybody is going to enjoy the family day. If you are sick like me, get recovered soon. Happy family day for everybody. And let's just see here. I have the updater, but I can check what is the condition. The condition is less than or what? Less than 5. Okay, I'm gonna say if the counter is greater than or equal to 5. Guys, what should I say?
Right.
Yeah, Muhammad Alwani, it shows that you pay very much attention. Good. Muhammad is one of those that talks less but knows a lot. Good. It exactly does the same job, right? And now it is easy for us to convert this one into while. So you can just say while counter, you just need to say opposite. While counter is less than, come on, don't do that. Okay, less than 5, just print. And don't pick on me, please. It might be less than or equal something. You can just, fix it at your end. Right? What I want to give you, the message is just, it should be like a pizza dough in your hand. To change it to a Greek pizza, to a kind of round pizza, or whatever you want. As long as it is like a dough in your hand, you can just shape it the way that you like. Play with while, play with for. And Reza, how you can do that? I have taught this course a few times, guys. You are gonna be way better than me after just practicing a few times. You know what I'm saying? So don't worry. I remember one time there was one, Dr. Harley and his son, Adam Harley, was our classmate, very genius guy. I always envy Harley that he just defined something on the fly, change it in front of everybody. It's like, is it possible that I can do it one day? Guys, if you teach one course, and that is what I very much recommend, find your younger siblings, teach them C#. That's another way to improve our programming, okay? When you teach. Let's go to the next together. Right. Oops, sorry. Do while loop, print hello at least once. Guys, when I say at least once, Joseph, what is the best data structure? What's the best loop?
To do it more, sorry, at least once. I would say, is it do while?
Excellent.
Yeah, do
You got the
while.
answer. Whenever you say at least once, means that no matter if the condition is correct or not correct, go through the loop, and the only data structure that we have for that is do while, because it first hunts the fox, then it's going to count the number of eyes.
Okay.
Right? Okay, good. So this time I'm gonna say counter equal to 1, right? And then I'm gonna say console.writeLine hello, and then counter plus plus. And I say as long as counter less than 5. Let me ask you one thing. Let's just go through this together and run the code. And if I run the code, it is going to type hello once. But if I just replace that, don't forget to remove that semicolon. Now this time, first I check, then I go inside the loop. Are we going to have hello? Those who say that we are going to have hello, please type 1. Eskin, bravo, thank you. Lovely, great. Those who say that we are not going to have hello, type 2. I repeat my question. Guys, when you first check, let me ask you, what is the value inside counter? Alex, what is the value inside counter?
It's 6.
Lovely. Is 6 less than 5?
No.
So then we go after the loop. Is it clear for everybody? No, Goma, it is not. Okay, what is your question? Goma, can you please?
I'm just answering the question. Is 6 less than 5?
Aha, no, I thought that you say that it is not clear because I asked the follow-up question. Okay, let me ask you one thing. Imagine that Reza said, no, it is not clear. Let me ask you, Goma, can you help Reza? If you don't mind, keep your mic open so we can go through together. The first value for counter is 6. Is 6 less than 5? No, so I'm not gonna check this. It's not gonna go through it. And let me just play that game before, and then I am that much lazy. Can you imagine? After. Okay, so let's just run it. So it's going to say before, after without getting inside the code. Now, this time I'm going to say Control X do, and then say while semicolon, don't forget it. No matter if the condition is correct or not, once we are gonna get inside. So we have before, we have after, and hello between. Everything is clear?
Yes.
So if you have any hesitation, any question about this,
Reza, if we
yeah.
could just go back to when you just had it as while and then just change the counter to like say 4, because 4 is less than 5, and just run it.
Okay, if we say 4, and let me just, to ease the job for us to understand, let's say counter here, right? Then we can have better understanding what is happening. Okay, if I say counter, it's going to be before 4. I say while counter is less than 5. This one is going to work. Does that make sense? And if I just change, surprisingly enough, for this case, Control X, I'm gonna just see. While for this one, what's gonna happen? It's going to show you the same thing.
Okay, it shows you what's inside. Okay.
Because we at least have one time which the condition is true. So did we get the idea?
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me just go to the next, and the next says, write a C program that uses a while loop, just see, to print hello only if the counter is less than 5. So guys, we just practiced this. If we bring that do while into while, we already know the answer. This one is not going to print anything, but the previous one at least prints it once. Let's see the next question. It says that write a C program that uses a for loop to print hello 5 times. Guys, this is super simple for you. Easy peasy, right? I'm not gonna ask you as a challenge to do anything. You simply can see, even if I don't use that. 3 lines of code, start from 0, type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the next question is, write a C program that uses a for loop, hello, 6 times. The loop should uses infinite loop structure like this. We know that we can say the counter. You might say, Reza, what is the use of, let me just bring this example. And I want to show, this is super important, Reza, why we learned that using for while we can. I'm asking Alex, oh, Alex is not there. Joseph, or anyone who wants to step in. If I say console write line counter, it's going to show the counter after the loop, yes or no? I repeat my question. I want to show the counter outside the loop. I just need to do what? Copy the before I copy, just please tell me if I paste it there, it's going to print counter. If you think that is true, please type T. If you think that is false, please type F. I wish I kept that for the test, this question. Guys, look at this one. Now, counter is unknown. Why? Because whenever you define int counter inside the for loop block, the scope is going to be local, just for the loop. Look at this. If I bring that outside, now this guy is going to be accessible. It is going to be a global scope. Did you get that?
Reza, can you repeat that one more time?
No, sorry. Sure, definitely. Look at this one. Okay. Look, when I say for int counter equal to 0, I define a plate, I define a container, Joseph, right? And I say count as long as counter is less than 5, do this, and every time add 1 into that, right? Imagine that 4 is a block of code. If you define something within the block, it is just that variable is just alive within the block. So if you go outside, it cannot understand, because this is just, when you finish the loop, you say goodbye to counter, right? Okay. If you want to make it globally accessible, you need to bring it globally outside there. In that case, it is going to be accessible inside, it is going to be accessible outside. Does that make sense? Lovely. Let's just try something here. If I say int my test equal to 100, right? And I say console write line my test. Definitely it's going to show you 5 times. Let's just try this together. And it's going to say hello 100, hello 100, hello 100. But is it possible that I say write line my, you see, even the IntelliSense cannot understand that we have such a thing outside that. You got it? So Reza, at any cost, I want to have that my test accessible. The solution is very simple. Control C, define it there. You can change the value inside, but the scope is above that thingy, right? And the thing is, I need to say equal to 0 here too, because this guy is not going to understand that thing. And let's just see what is happening. Yay. Everything is clear. Okay. So by saying, guys, this was not easy. You asked very tough questions, honestly. I'm happy that I studied before coming to the class. So let's go to try this one. Is there any question, Kevin, for this? I said counter is equal to 0. This is the initializer. We have the updater. We could have that here too. And here is the checker to see if we need to continue or just say goodbye. Okay? That kind of thing. One question, I want you, here you have the code, and please give it back to me as quickly as you can. Time is important here. I want you to combine the checker and updater together. Please do it. Let's see who's going to be the winner. Alex, perfect, but you answered correctly. It's going to work. But what I want to do is just modify this code. Do not bring anything to for here. Combine checker and updater. Okay, let's see what is the result at the beginning. The result would show hello 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Okay, everybody? And now, if I get rid of that one, it's going to be infinite. And if I say plus plus here, let's see what's going to happen. This is not the correct answer. This is going to show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one extra. That is why we need to say first plus plus. And then now this time it's going to bring it back to 6 hellos, the same as what it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does that make sense? Combining those two together. Okay, here's the answer. Let's go to the next question together. And here it says, okay, write a C program that uses a for loop to iterate 5 times, printing hello each time. During each iteration, add the value of counter to sum and print the summation of all values. After each iteration, after the loop, print the final value of sum. Okay, so let's see what is going to happen here. This time, to the interest of time, because I want to make sure we are going to finish this. What is happening here? Shoot. Guys, I have an issue and help this old guy to fix that issue. Here's the code. I give up.
Would you
Actually, sum is initialized, Kevin. Sum is initialized here.
Oh,
but would you move it out of the bracket for it to?
Lovely.
it's what Pooja said. It's not global. So
Excellent. Great answer. That is something that we faced a few seconds ago, guys. I got aged. I don't remember things for a long period of time. That's what you're saying. Bring it outside, then you can have it outside too, right? Everybody's getting the whole thing. Let's just try this time. And this is not gonna have any issue now. Let me just show, guys, it is very simple. Sum at the beginning is 0. And then as long as counter is less than 5, so it's going to add 1, then 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, tell me 6, 6 plus 4, 10, and we are going to say goodbye, right? If I say less than or equal, it's going to be 15, right? Okay, so the the answer is, the solution is right after that. If we go to the next slide said, write a C sharp program that uses a for loop to iterate 5 times, printing hello for each time. During each iteration, add the value of counter to sum. After the loop, print the final value of sum. Actually, this is pretty similar to this one. And the only difference is I didn't show the sum inside. I just kept it. Do you remember, Alex, we had that discussion before, when it is inside the loop or when we want to keep it outside the loop, the whole result. This one, it shows every time that you add. Maybe your client says, I don't want to see the iteration. I just want to get the final answer. This one is going to give you the final answer, right? Not the iteration. The next question is, okay, calculate the average of some courses, for example, 5. Write a C sharp. This is a kind of test to like exam questions, write a C# program that calculates the total and the total and the average grades for a student based on the number of courses. The program should ask the user to input the number of courses, prompt the user to enter the grade for each course. So if I know guys, let's say the number of courses is n. Is it possible that I write a program like this saying console writes line, please enter the number of courses, and so definitely we can have 5.5 courses. We either have 5 or 6. So I'm gonna say int new of courses and say convert dot to int 32 console.readline, and then we get that. Okay, and is it possible that I say for counter less than or equal number of courses? And we need to start from counter 1 because I said less than or equal. If I started from 0, I should say less than number of courses. You know what I'm saying, right? And each time you're going to say, please enter, then you're going to say, please, I'm sorry, console write line, please enter the grade. You can just make it fancy, like saying, for your course number, what do we call it? Counter kind of thing. And definitely we need to have $sign before to make it. Yes. And then you're gonna get that value, guys. I'm lazy. Let's just not be lazy. I'm gonna say double course, a course grade. And then I'm gonna say course grade is going to, and here should be 8. Okay, course grade is equal to convert. This is one of the things that I love to see when people say parse dot to double. 80% of the time it shows that that's ChatGPT. Anyway, so because parse is a kind of old-fashioned, ChatGPT uses the old-fashioned, convert is a kind of new thing. So I'm gonna get the course grades, and then I'm gonna say whatever the sum is, and sum should be double. That's me. It works without, but I just course grade divided by that. Doesn't make sense. And we don't need to have the sum inside the loop. Everybody, is it possible? Look at this one, and that is important. Is it possible that I calculate the average? If I say here, for instance, the first course is 100, the second course is 90. Oh, shoot, sorry. It says that, read the thing. It says that write the number of courses, let's say 3. Okay, in course number 1, it should have space, 100. Course number 2, 90. And course number 3, 80. So the average should be what? Should be 90, right? The average of these 3 courses. Let me fix this one. It is on my nerve to show it like that. Course number 1, space. Okay, now it is fine. Question: is it possible that I say sum divided by counter? Here, yes or no? So now you see the squiggly line and it doesn't. So how should, awesome, Kevin solved my issue. Reza, if you want to have that, say int counter globally and just get rid of that one, then you can just have this. And this time, if I just say, yes, I have 3 courses, 100. Why it says hello? Anyway, 90, 80, that what? That's the issue. Then we should say counter -1 kind of thing, because counter is already got above. And let's just get rid of that hello. And now it is fixed. That's 100% guarantee. 3 courses, 100, 90 and 80. Ta-da! It's going to look like this. Joseph, the reason that you are a little bit suspicious is the last time that we want to get outside the loop, counter becomes 4, and 4 is not less than equal 3, right? So it is already 4. And we need to say, hey, you know what? Go back 1 step because the number of courses that we had was 3. That kind of thing.
Okay, I see.
You got it? You might say, Reza, no, I don't trust you. You have all the right to say so. So you are going to say, oh, sorry, console write line, dollar, here is the counter. And I'm going to say counter. Look what's going to happen. If I say, this time, let's say 2 courses, 190, so the average should be 95. It's going to say, here is the counter 3, which is not correct. I mean, for the things that we want. And then everything is clear? Yes? Okay, those who got what we did here, please type 1. I didn't say please type 5. Give me high 5, type 5. Goma, you lost the game. Okay, lovely. Let's go to the next part. And it says that ask the user to input a number of courses, prompt the user to enter the grades for each course. This is what we actually did a few seconds ago. And look, the only difference here, I started counter from 0, right? So for 3 courses, it is going to be 0, 1, 2. And when it becomes a 3, actually, for the first index, I don't need to say -1. You see, in the things that I did here, counter started from 1. In this one, because I started from 0, I had another issue. To say that this is your course number 1, I needed to say counter, which started from 0 plus 1 to make it to show this is your first course. Does that make sense, Joseph? Okay, and guys, this is not a big deal if you just have a little bit of doubt here and there. Let me just save this file, okay? And then the last thing before we say goodbye is gonna be we did loop, and for a while we already did. Here you see that we have a break continue. The good thing is, guys, because loop is kind of like important thing, and I saw that many of my friends, they had issues. Let me just quickly tell you one thing. Here is more practices that today we can, and this is like from very simple questions. If you see, for instance, I borrowed from different places. Show I from 0 to 4, not including 5. I started from very, very simple, and I got to something really interesting. Like here we practice username and password, right? The actual problem statements that you deal in real life. And this one is thanks to ChatGPT and the others. I gave all the code and I said, here is the whole code. And I said, Oh no, this is not, I'm sorry, this is not the one. The ChatGPT is somewhere else. I gave ChatGPT all the code and I said classify all the important concepts. This is kind of advanced form, even more practices that we have, more advanced. But today we're gonna just a little bit touch on break continue in the 4 minutes that we have. You have all the needed requirements to start working on your next assignment, but I'm going to give 2 weeks. I was not sure how far we can get. Okay, somebody please voluntarily tell me what is the use of this code? What does it do? Yes, Alex, please.
So from line 1, we have a for loop, which it states that our initializer is at 0. It checks that if the initializer is under 10.
If I is under 10.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
And then it adds positive to the count, so it adds an extra 1.
For the next round, but let's just see if I don't have that one, Alex, it's going to show 0 all the way to 9, right? Without having that break. But I'm gonna say Control Z and we have that break. So what is gonna happen here?
It checks to make sure that I is equal to 4. If it is, then it breaks the loop.
It goes where?
It goes outside the loop, so it breaks
goes
out of the loop.
After the loop. So that is why it shows 0, it shows 1, it shows 2, but 3. But when it is 4, go after the loop. So it's not gonna go and print 4 or keep moving inside the loop. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hey, let me just ask you any question? Okay, so what if I say continue? What's going to happen here? I'm going to just run the code, see the result.
Continues up to 10.
So what does it mean? So it's 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's no 4. You see the result?
It skips 4 and continue the program.
Excellent, Muhammad. Lovely. Look at this one. Can I have your attention, everybody? It is at the beginning, it is 0. It is 0. So is 0 equal to 4? Nah. So we don't get trapped in this condition. We print 0. That happens for 1. That happens for 2. That happens for 3. Everybody could follow? But when it is 4, and we get to that continue means don't continue the rest of the code inside, but get back to the loop. Means continue to the loop, not the rest of the loop part. So when it is 4, continue means I'm gonna get there, add 1 into it. Now it is 5. 5 is not equal to 4, then print 6, 7. Long story short, please pay attention. Whenever you have break, it is going to, and the condition is correct, it is going to break the code and brings you after the loop. But when you have continue, it is going to bring you to the beginning of the loop. So you're not going to go through the continuation. Let me just show you one more thing. Console write line. Here is the loop inside. Okay, so if I say continue, let's see what's gonna happen. So it says 0, here's the loop inside, 1, 2, 3, but after 3, and when we say here's the loop inside, we don't go through these 2 lines, we go and make it 5, and then we print 5, and here it is, we are inside the loop. If you say break, that's the last thing that I'm gonna tell for today. Break, I'm sorry. And now you run the code, look what's gonna happen. It's going to be, here's in this loop, 1, 2, 3, but when it goes to the 4, we go after the loop. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Now, my sincere apologies that I kept you for 1 extra minute to make sure that we finish the concept. Definitely next time I'm going to go through all these codes, so don't worry. I just wanted to make sure that we know the concept, we can start working on the assignment, and you have 2 weeks for that. This is pretty much for today. As always, thank you very much for joining your class, and make the class as interactive as possible. I'm gonna stop recording, but I know that some of you had concerns about the assignment. Yes, Kevin. So if anybody has no concern and they want to leave, feel free. Maria, I know that you had one question. So I'm gonna answer. Kevin, please. Have a good one.
I was just waving goodbye, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought that you have a question. Take care of yourself. Have a good one.
Too.
Kevin, thank you. So Maria asked that, can you explain part 5 of assignment 4? I need to go to the new assignment 4. The alternative or the main one? Okay. And part 5. Okay, part 5. It says that, let's just read it together. Using proper documentation, commenting on what you're doing, what variables you have used, and so on, and using proper attributes and values, have 2 marks. Okay. Do you want to understand about this? Yeah.
So I was just wondering, it says to comment on what you were doing. So do we have to put comments before every step and explain what we're doing?
Okay, let me just do one thing. I don't want to exaggerate that. But if you do as much as you can, that would be awesome. For instance, in the following loop, I use, there shouldn't be any comment. I use I as my counter variable. Okay. And I might go to the next. I check every time if it is less than 10 or not. Also, in the updater, I add I add 1 to the, what do we call it, to the counter, that kind of thing. Look at this one here. I said I. If I need to have something like a number, I say double sum equal to 0. Okay, you can understand that sum is the, what do we call it, is the accumulation of the numbers, Maria, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what if I, instead of sum, I say x? Can you understand what is the rule of x? Not this is not easily, right?
Yeah.
So the whole idea is to having this is the exaggerated version of commenting. Most of the time we just say, for instance, let me just bring this one to sum. The good thing is we say I is the loop counter sum keeps the summation of the values, something like this.
Okay,
Did I answer your concern question?
yeah. Do we do the same for, this is for, explaining a value, so we do this for every value, right? For input, output.
Well, not only for values. Maria, the idea of documentation, if I tell you, you can just have a clearer understanding for the rest of coding. The idea of documentation is to make the code that much readable, so you can hand it to your colleague and they don't need to ask you any question.
Okay,
It's like teaching the code without your presence.
okay,
Did I answer that?
yeah.
Okay. Any other concern or question you have?
No, that was all.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for asking. And if there is no other question, guys,
Hey, Prof.
Yes, please.
Just really quick. So assignment 3 is due on the 16th, and then the 2 weeks you were speaking of assignment 4 is due in 2 days, and then assignment 5 is in 2 weeks, correct?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
And always you can check the folder and it shows you the due. So
Yeah, the grade book, I was seeing the assignment 4 was in 2 days, so just wanted to clear that up.
yeah, and the reason that I didn't, because we have enough questions, some people might want to intensify more the concept and they want to work more. So I thought it's not a bad idea to have 2 weeks. Thanks for asking.
Perfect.
Take care. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Professor, hi.
Yes.
Hi, Professor. I have a quick question. For the assignment 4, in the question number 3, I have a question regarding how to handle the exception. Can you please give me some hint about it?
This one, I don't see any. Can you please tell me which?
Alternative, the easy one, question number 3.
Okay, let me just go to.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay, it says that write a C# program that simulates a vending machine where the user selects a drink by entering a number, and the program displays the selected drink.
My bad, Professor. Question number 2. 3, I already figured it out. Sorry.
No problem. Write a C# program that converts numerical marks between 0 to 100 into a letter grade based on this. The question asks that, ask the user to enter 0 to 100, use a switch case to determine the letter grade, and now handle cases that the input is outside the range. Whenever we use switch case, the default part is for something outside the range. So if it is below 0 or above 100, it is inside default. You're going to say, please enter a value between 0 to 100. That's it. Okay, thanks for asking. Have a good one and take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.